Recording in
Wrong way.
progress.
There we go. I forgot I'm not mirror, or I am mirror, whatever it is. I'm the right way. My shirt is not backwards.
I don't know if mine is or not. Can't see it
Uh,
anyways.
but welcome to Frightening Frauen. Before I forget,
I have to tell
uh,
you what my shirt says now.
what does it say? What does it say?
It says, I like pizza and I like 3 people. And guess what? You're one of those people.
Yeah, I made it. Perfect. I love it. I don't even know if I have 3 people.
Well, my
Uh,
son is one of them. So,
okay, that makes sense. Oh yeah, I have children.
yeah, I mean, you don't have to like them. You just have to love them. So,
Oh, some days I like them. Some days, I mean, they're teenagers now, so
yeah, that's it. You put the like aside, save it for later.
they used to be cute.
No, they smell weird.
Oh, Evelyn is the last of the like babyish looking children, and now she's almost 5 feet. I measured her at the doctor today.
Wow. Yeah. I remember my son was officially taller than me and he would stand next to me and like stretch himself out. So he's like, it's like, I'm taller than you. And I wasn't like, ooh,
I'm just
that's a
showing the
nice
people who can
mug.
see. This mug I got as a gift, but I know that it came from Leigh's shop.
Yeah. That's the first time I've actually gotten to see it like not in a mock-up and it looks good.
That's good. I
I
also
get,
have. I broke my chain. I need to get a new chain.
oh no.
I
Is
fidget
it, did
too
I,
much. It
which
was
part of it broke?
um, it uh,
Oh, okay. So yeah, I was wondering how those hold up.
it was my
I
fault though. Like it was.
I cinch them in, but I also glue them with the E6000. So the fact that you broke the E6000 is pretty impressive.
Well, I like was playing with it like this on my neck.
uh, I can make a different kind of chain that's
I
can play
have
with
other
more.
I
Okay.
I have other chains, so I'm just gonna switch it over to what another one that I have, or fix it. I could probably glue it back. I have super glue.
Yeah. What are you doing? Amos is like, hey.
Oh, I was gonna ask which ball they like better, but I just realized that I only have my dirty hat. This hat is like 4 years old, guys. So I'm making my Chrismica hats. This is dirty because it's mine and I've had it forever. But okay, I don't know if I'm gonna use the long fur. I found my short fur, so I'm making a hat right here. And I don't know if I like the small or the big ball better though.
Hmm. I I think I like the bigger ball.
I like the big ball too.
Yeah. I also like the long fur. I like both fur types, but I think I like the bigger ball universally.
I think I might add the long fur separately on there and see.
Yeah.
I bought a ton of the fur, so hopefully people do.
I like big balls. She likes big balls.
But we've got the
Got the
biggest
biggest balls
balls
of
of them
them. That
all.
was like one of my favorite videos I did on TikTok was that song. Because I love that song. Like I used to stim, like do the echo Alia stim of that song when I was a kid.
Oh, guess what?
But
I missed you.
aw.
I was like, I kept trying to find time to record earlier in the week, and you guys were recording on Sunday. And we had planned to record, and like things just kept happening, and I was so busy. And then Friday, I had to go to the run fair because I had won tickets that were only good for that day.
Yeah, we
And
did. That
yeah,
was like the longest we've gone without texting in a while.
uh-huh.
Was on Friday.
There was like no reception. Well, I guess there was, but I had an outfit with no pockets.
And
It's like I'm
I
just
was like, oh, you're busy. And then I think I slept a lot or something.
Yeah, in case you all didn't guess, we text a lot.
Yeah, it would be like
No,
my day, my week would be really weird if like if we stopped texting suddenly. I'd be like confused and like, what am I supposed to do?
probably means I'm hospitalized.
Yeah. But then I'll get random like selfies from the hospital.
Not if it's a 72-hour hold.
That's true.
Which I'm not gonna lie has happened.
I have I have wanted that to happen. Not that anyone really wants that, but I felt like I needed
Yeah.
it, but I didn't know how to navigate myself out of the closet I was curled up in to get there. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's huge. Like the last time I begged them a week before they did hospitalize me to take me, and they wouldn't because they said that they didn't have any beds for anyone willingly there. They only had beds for people who were put on a hold, and they weren't going to put me on a hold because I took myself there and wanted them to check me in.
Awful. I mean, it's awful on multiple fronts because you didn't get the help you needed, and then the fact
Then it
that
got worse. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm
and
going to
that
end up in a hold if you guys don't take me.
yeah, and just the fact that they're that slammed that they can't accommodate people because that's got to be hard too, you know.
Yeah. So, yep, they ended up putting me in a hold a week later.
I don't. I have like I just think I'll like I don't know. I've never lost control. Like I just shred my insides and I feel like I need help, but then I can't externalize my need for help. So I it's like I don't know like what that would even, like if I go to the doctor and it's the same as being in pain. I go to the doctor and I'm
Mhm.
very like I'm in pain.
Just
And they're
matter
like
of
it must
factly.
yeah, and they're like it must not be that bad then. And I'm like no, it's really bad like, you
For
know.
me to be telling you it's bad because my baseline is bad.
Yeah. I think I told you about being in like labor and I was so calm. They
Mhm.
didn't, when I asked for an epidural, they didn't believe me. And my blood pressure was like perfectly normal. And so they're like, oh, you're fine.
Because I'm used to being in pain, but I should be able to enjoy this experience.
Yeah. Also, I'm an extremely reserved person. So like everything goes inside. And because when I was little, every time I like externalized any of my feelings, be them good or bad, I got in trouble. So like I stopped. I became like it's like terrifying to like even like when I'm alone, like things like getting really happy and dancing and singing is really hard for me to do. It's actually easier for me to do it if I'm with somebody that's doing it with me because then I feel acceptance, you
Mhm.
know?
Or
So
when you're dressed up, because I've noticed like on TikTok and stuff, you're able
yeah,
to, if there is a sound going, it's not your sound, and you can do it with the sound. So maybe it is kind of like a camaraderie with the person who made the original sound. I
maybe.
don't know.
That's like I'm also like my face is very like uh when you said dressed up, my brain went to like being fancy dressed up, not
I
clown
know.
dressed up. And that's why I was
Clown
like,
is
oh,
dressed
gross,
up.
gross. Yeah, clown dress up. Uh like because I am very animated, but it depends on what's going on. And I'm way more animated when I'm with a person in person than but it's a lot of work doing the videos and animating for the videos. It's very intentional. And you
Mhm.
could tell when I'm tired because I can't do it. I'll just be like, whereas like if we were hanging out in person, I would be way more animated
Mhm.
and it wouldn't be intentional. It would just be because I'm sort of feeding off the energy of another person and you know, and I
Yeah,
make cartoon faces. But
I like those.
I used to be it's like when I got sick, like I started conserving energy and now I'm more flat than than I was when I'm like talking to people, but that's still not like emotional expression. That's like a whole
Mhm.
other thing. Yeah.
That makes sense though, because it is energy. And one of the guests that we're going to be bringing on, I need to coordinate with them, talks a lot about that, about the energy that it takes to put on different social masks, and that a lot of people, it's just a slight change of things to be able to those types of behaviors, whether it's talking on the phone or seeing people in person with customer service, where other people, it is a much bigger change to have to put that face on. And
Yeah,
so you
it's
do run out
huge.
of energy. And then if you combine chronic pain or conditions into it, like that's even more energy that you're already taking up. So it makes sense to tone that back to conserve energy because it's energy, it's emotional energy and physical energy.
Yep. Like I always have to take a nap after we record. It's just I get tired
It
and I
just
need,
suck it out of you.
yeah. But the nice thing is when we talk, it doesn't drain my social battery really, which is
Mhm.
nice because some people they just like I'll spend a half an hour talking to them and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna throw up. I feel so sick. I gotta go. Like, and it's really nice when I find people that don't do that. And I've been told that I don't do that. So, which makes me really happy because I talk a lot. So, because I always worry, like, I'm like, I'm sorry if I drained you. They're like, no, it was great. It was relaxing. I was like, okay.
I think the good thing is one of my things that I enjoy and I have since I was little was hearing other people talk about things that excite them. And so I like to ask you questions about things that I know that you're excited about because I like hearing about you talking about them.
I
And
like that too. Like, and also like people who are like have a passion or like a joy for something like playing a musical instrument or whatever.
Mhm.
Like I don't, I'm demisexual, very asexual, whatever. But seeing somebody do something that they're good at, that they feel like in sync with themselves and have that joy of being alive while they do it is hot as fuck. Like,
Yeah, well then this might turn you on. So when I was at the Ren
like,
Fair, I think I told you a little bit about this, but when I was at the Ren Fair, I ran into my friend Daryl, who will also be a guest on him and his wife, both want a guest
I
on
think
the
we're Facebook
podcast.
friends now.
Oh yeah, you are.
Yeah.
So I ran into him at the Ren Fair and I made him go all the way back out to his car and grab his spoons because he plays the spoons. And he's even writing a book about it. Um,
Okay, I thought that was a joke when he was talking about writing a book about
no,
spoons.
he literally has it written. It's almost done. But no, I think he has like 12 chapters in this book.
he need, he needs one of my spoon keychains.
Yes, he does. But he brought him out and he taught me and my friend Tilly to play the spoons. And then at the end, he's like, "Yeah, you guys can have those." And so he gave them to us. And I don't have them up here with me, but we went around and
Awesome.
found people singing, and we asked them if we could play the spoons with them while they were singing. Because people will like sing to try to get people into their shops. And I'm like, "Oh, we can back
Yeah,
you up."
yeah. That's awesome.
It was really fun. And so now we both know a few things on the spoons. I think she's better than me, but we're going to make some content for OF of us playing the spoons. So stay tuned, guys.
I can't wait to see that.
We might do some clothed ones for TikTok too. Just use our,
Definitely should.
instead of our legs, we'll use our.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're talented.
awesome. It's fun. Now it makes me want to go get spoons and play, even though like I was never good at it. I could do the basic rhythm, but I never really learned to do more. And then I mentioned to you, I got these, they're like these wood, they're about like this and shaped like that. And you get two of them together and you can like do the same sort of spoon thing,
Mhm.
but they're wood and it's like a Scottish percussion tool or something like that. So I used to play with that a lot. And I'm not going to say that I was good at it, but I played with it a lot.
It's fun, and it's like I feel like it's a stim for me. Like I was definitely like
Yeah.
didn't even notice I was still doing it throughout the day. I
Yeah.
just liked the way I was feeling. My hand was all red. Well, the EDS definitely,
Yeah.
but it was like right where I kept hitting on my fingers was all red and puffy.
Yeah. I could see that. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like wondering, like, because with the EDS, the finger joints aren't necessarily as, how much do you have to like, would you get a better rhythm if you wore some splints or, like how much does it
possibly.
impact?
Huh. And you would get a different sound probably.
Yeah.
They'd probably have No, I think they could probably be soft still because your fingers are soft and it's the
Yeah.
spoons hitting together that makes the sound.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking more on the side that you support the spoons. Like if it like is
Yeah.
there more droop or whatever from the hypermobility or I don't this is think my brain just rabbit
No,
holes these
it's
things and
legit to think about. You do hold it loose, so you're not like clenching it because that's where my hands get like issues and get stuck. So
yeah.
I had to remind myself to hold it loose. But yeah, splints would probably have made it easier.
Yeah. Maybe less tiring. So
Mm-hmm.
so kinesio tape along the top of
Oh,
the I'm
that
a big fan
actually,
of doing if I do anything at length, like the last time I went shooting, I just kinesio taped the shit out of my arms and it helps so much.
okay, I need to do that next time I go shooting because that's my one issue with not the arm, not the finger that I'm actually shooting with, but the one holding. Because so I do a lot of shotgun and long rifle, but it's the arm that I'm holding out that needs some
Hmm.
help.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's a good. I didn't think
It's
about
it's
that.
great stuff. Yeah, I went back east for a friend's wedding, photographed his wedding, and
Oh, that
then
kind
like
of
we hung
shooting.
out. No, 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 no. And then we went to an NRA like whatever gun range.
Okay.
And as like so it was like this whole like it made it like a whole trip where we hung out and got barbecue and did this and did that and car show and whatever, but we also went shooting. And I was like at that point, because I was still working, my arms were like absolutely trashed from sitting at a desk. And I was like, I'm gonna bring kinesio tape with me. And it made the one time I went shooting without it, I was like my hands and like the forearms, because I was mostly doing like pistols, my forearms were just like blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then I did kinesio tape the next time and I had way less like issues, less shake and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I always wanted to shoot a sniper rifle, but like when I was a kid, that was like my dream job
Hmm.
because I don't know why. But just that was, I was like, that's what they were like, well, but you're a girl, so that would be, probably really hard for you to get into. And that made me so I was pretty disillusioned about being female by the time I was 10 because I was told I couldn't be a sniper and I was supposed to look pretty. And I was like, yeah, there's no way that's gonna happen. So like uh but I've never done it because as I got older, I became more and more sensitive to sound and the
Mm.
percussion, that kickback percussion from like the large caliber is intense. It's so cool to be around it. But after like two or three shots, I'm fried. Like my nervous system is just like, nope, I'm out. Even with the ears covered, and it's just physically you can feel the air
Hmm.
move, and my body's just like, whoa.
Do you think you could do, because I have a couple of like the 22 long rifle um, guns that don't have a lot of noise or kickback. Do you think you could do those? Because those
I
can
would try
go
it.
long range, and Evelyn shoots those.
Yeah,
Um,
I would definitely try it. And also, like if we're doing it outside, it's better because most of the time I've only been indoor ranges and it's
mm,
pretty intense having those large caliber. Like I
yeah,
literally was like, why did they even allow that in here? Because it's like you're like
yeah.
going to shoot and you just get hit by the air. You're like, "Ugh."
Sensory wise, I can only do outdoor ranges. I even in the winter I go shooting out here and I do it outdoors.
and
Um,
and and yes, I live in California and I like guns. There's
oh my
lots of
God,
us.
how dare we
Lots of
be
us.
liberal and like guns?
I don't even, I mean, I guess technically I would be considered a liberal because I think people should be allowed to do whatever they want to do. But
Like,
I more identify with the libertarian of like
yeah,
leave people alone, leave
yeah,
other countries alone, and just kind of like freedom for all as long as you're not hurting people. You can even have bad opinions of other people, just keep it to yourself.
yeah, just
That's
don't be
it.
that for yourself.
Yeah. Like
Uh,
you don't have to have blue hair if you don't want blue hair, but you also don't have to tell me that you don't like it because I literally don't care.
100%. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was Green Party for a long time and then went to just independent. And then I was Democrat only because I wanted to vote for one particular person. And then I went back to independent. But Bernie, Grandpa Burns. But then I went back to independent and I would align with libertarian if it wasn't what it is now. Like if it was
Yeah,
what it originally was supposed to be.
I'm textbook libertarian. I
Yeah.
am not social libertarian. Like I don't like walk around and go, well, I'm a libertarian, because like the way that people show themselves on TV and talk, though, I don't even consider those people libertarians. They're
No,
dumb. They're just
no.
like, they've completely like warped it, and it's inaccurate. And
And
yeah.
nothing that they are saying would fit libertarian because you shouldn't care about what other people do. It's about your own, like everyone having the right to choose for themselves. And
Exactly.
that's the point. And they're making it so that, well, I want you to choose my things that I want.
Yeah.
And everyone should want that. And no, you're making a party again of like an
Control
extreme,
freaks.
exactly. It's control again, which is the exact opposite of what libertarian
Yeah.
is
It's
supposed to
like,
be.
tell me you're really insecure in your identity without telling me you're insecure in your identity because you need to control other people. You know,
Mhm.
like the people that are comfortable in who they are do not feel that need. Like, what are you hiding? What do you feel ashamed of that you're not acting on? Let's get in there and unlock that so that you can be happy, you know?
Forced therapy.
Seriously. Because that's what I think with these all these angry people trying to control everyone else, is that they're controlling themselves.
Yeah.
You know,
And they put
they're
themselves in such a box that you can't even wiggle around in it because if you do, then you're kind of going against everything that you've kind of made your identity. And I
yeah.
hate that. I hate putting myself into a box. Like I've changed things. I am glad that I've been able to and have changed my mind about things and grown. And I will still continue to do that the rest of my life. And all the
Yep.
things that I stand for now may change and morph and grow, and new things will come up and happen, and times change. There's
Yep.
certain things that I know I'll never change my mind on, um, but again, it's like let people smoke their weed and marry whoever they want and have their guns. And
Yep. And on the flip side of that, if somebody does not want to make somebody a cake because they don't agree with them, that's absolutely okay. And they should not be forced to make that cake. What should have happened in that situation, instead of them being sued by people that were butthurt because they weren't being accepted for who they were, is that those people went, these people refused to make us a cake. We're going to let everybody know not to buy cakes there. And
mm-hmm.
had there be an actual like informed like ramification for those people's, bigotry, it's their right to be that way, and it's the other person's right to be like, well, we're not
Well,
going to shop from you,
yeah, and
instead
I'm
of
going to let
forcing
other
it.
people know that you don't, because like there's a lot of advocates that maybe you would have made their cake, but they don't want to shop from you either because you were bigoted against other people that I love, and so I don't
Yeah.
want to support your business. And I agree with that. That's um
There's like so little personal accountability from both sides that are on this like coin that
mhm.
we're stuck witnessing. And like, to me, I'm like, the personal accountability is what matters the most. Like, like, you can think what you want and feel what you want, but if you act on it, there should be ramifications.
Yeah,
And
there's social
suing somebody to
consequences.
force it is not, to me, is inappropriate. It's the inappropriate reaction.
It's inappropriate and it doesn't have as big of an effect. I feel like
Right.
you get negative effects towards you instead of just the company having the effects of their own actions, because now
Yeah.
you have actions that are now having consequences and you're kind of having them point back at you and say, see, that's why we don't want to deal with those types of
Yeah.
people. And
Like, because they
yeah.
they took those other people's right away, and
Mhm.
And the other people, the cake people, they should have been learning a lesson through their business being impacted. So no lesson was learned. And these other people, they just took
Mhm.
somebody's right away, and they created a precedent for
Yeah.
that because they won. So now other people can use that when they go to court. And I just I don't like it. I think it's awful, you know.
Yeah. On the flip side of that, though, in a different industry, I was just in a group yesterday, a focus group in a small town. And in small towns, there's less options for businesses that you can go to. And we were talking about health industry and how a lot of people are being turned away from even having their health cared for, myself included, whether it's for having certain chronic illnesses that they judge you for, or because they don't understand them. But the other side of it is a lot of people in the LGBTQIA plus community being the doctors saying that they don't feel comfortable treating them, and having stereotypes and having a lot of stigmas around people. Honestly, if your concern is that every person in the community has HIV, which is a lot of what the doctors are saying, you should treat every single person coming into your clinic as if they do and protect yourself, because that is what you're taught in medical school. Even me
Right.
going to pre-med, that is what we were taught. You treat everyone like they have an infectious disease and you protect yourself. And so if they
Well,
come to you and tell you that they have it, thank you, but I'm already doing the precautions that I normally would do. But yeah, there's
yeah.
a lot of people being turned away here, have to pretend like they're not part of, they have to lie to their doctors about who their
And
partners are.
and that's a moral issue as far as I'm concerned, because doctors take an oath to do no harm. And
Mm-hmm.
by turning people away because of their bias, they're putting themselves ahead of helping people, which means that they're breaking their oath. Like,
Yeah.
that's a whole other. And if they're in a position where they just aren't sure what to do, there's an entire community of doctors that they can tap into and be like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to navigate this. Can you guys give me some information so that I can help this patient? But we also need we need better infrastructure, like in terms of like telehealth.
Mm-hmm.
Like as far as I'm concerned, there should be like doctors that trans people can go to get lab work and prescriptions and stuff, and they can just like call in and get it anywhere. Like they shouldn't have to, like the whole state line laws and licensing is bullshit. It's just like a way to control the money. And
Yeah.
like there should be like a system in place for people like that who live in rural places or live anywhere where they can't get the care, that they can just, like right now you can just call like all these places online, get telehealth to get ADHD meds,
Mm-hmm.
which is part of the reason why there's like a shortage, right? That it should be like that for trans people. It should be like that for anybody that's in a marginalized group that has trouble getting healthcare. Like
Exactly.
it just it's frustrating to me because it seems like a really obvious solution and people are not. I'm sure there are people thinking about it. There may be even people trying to get the word out for their own, but there's not enough of it, and there
Yeah.
should be.
When I was trying to get on prep, they were so I, uninformed is probably the best word for it. No one in my town will do it for anybody. So they had to send me over an hour and a half away to another doctor who then told me that they don't do prep for people who were not assigned male at birth. And that's not true at all.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's not true. And it's less effective, but only by a small margin. It's still effective. And it's just bizarre to me that an infectious disease doctor didn't know what they were talking about and wouldn't
Right.
prescribe it to me. When I got to Denver, the first doctor I saw was like, of course we can get that for you, and immediately just put in the prescription.
Yeah. Did you have like side effects with it?
Nope.
I know someone that took it and they had it destroyed their GI system, like
Oh,
just which
yeah. My
was
GI stuff started way before. So I mean, maybe it got worse afterwards, but it was months after I was taking it that stuff started getting worse.
Yeah, it's probably not. But yeah, they had like they got leaky gut from taking it and
I've
stuff.
heard
So
that. I've heard that that could be a side effect. I didn't have that. I had the opposite.
yeah,
Unleaky
it's
gut.
unleaky gut.
Um,
I don't even know how people like navigate like all the cooties out there. Like I have the like I remember when I was about like because I was single for like 15 years, right? And I had this
mhm.
teacher that I would hang out with. I was taking like Spanish, and we would hang out after class sometimes, and he was like, you're in your 30s. You should go like date and sleep with people and have fun. And I was like, oh, people have cooties. Like he looked at me like I was crazy, but I was just like, like
Well, even in like polyamorous situations where we talk about like fluid bonding, which I think is a gross word, fluid, but
David.
but that includes even like sharing drinks or food with somebody or like things like that. I guess that's all I can think of. But things like
Yeah,
that. And you're supposed to tell your partners, even if you are like sharing a drink with somebody, because that's up to them to decide whether or not they want to take that risk of herpes
yeah,
from
yeah.
sharing a drink or
Or
kissing. Yeah.
hepatitis B, or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's different all kinds of things that yeah, that's important. I had a housemate that was hiding the fact that she had the HPV, one of the HPVs that causes the warts, and she would
Mm-hmm.
just get the warts removed on occasion. And she started to get involved with this poly guy, and he was doing the whole interview stage of like, are you clean, blah blah blah, like before they slept together. And she was telling me about it, and I was like, well, you told him about the HPV, right? And she's like, no, what, everybody gets that. And I was like, not everybody gets that one. That one's
Yeah.
like, one of the ones big associated with like different types of cancers, and like, so I went and told him
Yeah.
before they slept together. And I didn't live there for much longer after that, and she wouldn't be in a room with me after that. But like she would run away. It's scared. I guess she was scared of me after that. But I said after that too many times in a row. Now my brain is like, after that. But like to me, I was like, that was one of the most immoral things that I had like had someone say to me. And I was just like, oh no. Like, so, if anyone's ever hanging out with me and they're going to tell me immoral stuff, just I will tell on you. So,
Killed a guy in Reno. Oh yeah. I don't know. For me, a lot like you, it's hard for me to lie and I overshare and I don't even think it's oversharing. I share as much about myself as I want to.
yep.
But I feel like if it's someone I'm going to be intimate with, even if it's for making content and it's not like for any sort of like romantic side of things, I'm going to be honest with them and I'm going to get whatever testing they want me to get before we do that.
Yeah.
And then they can make the informed decision. I can make the informed decision because that's the right thing to do.
Right. Yeah. I always ask for tests. Like it's just, and I don't know why, but like my doctor, they just do the tests with every time I get a checkup. So like I
You
always
are
have like
lucky.
tests. Yeah. It's just, I'm like, and I don't complain. I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm not, I went like, even though I was like 15 years without anybody touching me, I still was like, sure, go ahead, you know?
Okay, so speaking of that, I was like 2 years in of not being with anyone, and I was still would get scared I was pregnant.
I I don't have a uterus anymore, and sometimes my brain does that.
I
Like,
can't get pregnant. So I've had ablation and I've had my tubes removed, and I only had one ovary anyway. If any of you know my story, I've told you about many times. Um, but I still like get those phantom baby kicks, and I'm like, oh my god.
you, like sometimes the gas bubbles move just like right,
Hmm.
and it will feel just like the quickening in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's funny. Like it's so weird to have this life experience that changes the association with gas bubbles for the rest of your life.
It does. It really, really does. Cause and then like yeah, it's just crazy because it's normal feelings that you had before you were pregnant, and now you associate it with that because you've had it so much during that time and it felt
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
But
The
yeah.
one the one thing I have not experienced without having a baby in me is the sensation of hiccups because he got the hiccups every day for the last 2 weeks at 6 in the morning. And my whole
Mm-hmm.
like, and I went to the doctor. I was like, what is that? She's like, I think he's got the hiccups. And then sure enough, after he was born, he had the hiccups like at the same time every day.
Does he still get them?
I
Like a
don't think
lot?
so. So when I went through my pregnancy, I had worked with an osteopath. So I went to my regular OB/GYN, but I also saw an osteopath who like did craniosacral adjustments. So
Mm-hmm.
I had like a really relatively easy labor. Like my first baby, 6 hours, just shot right out of me, right? And so she actually came to the hospital after he was born and did craniosacral therapy on his head, so he didn't look like a vagina squished baby, and adjusted his in his sternum the diaphragm and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so after like 3 adjustments, he stopped having like the hiccups all the time, and he had like a perfect
That
round baby head and all that. So it's
that's
pretty cool.
fascinating.
She was an amazing, like, when I was a teenager, I was in so much pain. I had sciatica, part of my leg was numb. I wanted to die. Like I was in so much pain. Like I was positive. I had so much trauma from how much pain I was in that I was positive I was going to die before I was like
Mm-hmm.
25. Right. And then I saw her, and she was like, your body is jacked up. I don't know what's wrong with you, but like you have loose ligaments, and I don't know if you have tears or what. But so she did this thing called prolotherapy. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it is used in other countries for people with EDS or with ligament tears. And they you inject like this stuff. It's like, I think it's like vitamin C and other stuff into either into the ligament or right next to it, and it creates like a calcification. And it can, if the ligament's freshly torn, it can cause the ligament to start to regrow a little bit so you can have some healing. If it's been long torn or it's just moving around too much, it creates a calcification on the bone that keeps the ligament from moving too far. And so she did that because my hips were like out over an inch up and then forward.
Mm-hmm.
um and after a couple treatments of that, my hips stayed in for like 5 years before it wore off. And that, like, all the stuff she did, like, I still had pain, but it was like
You
it
could
just
tell it
never,
helped.
yeah, it never got back to that point until maybe like a decade ago. And then now I have tried finding good osteopaths, but they're not affordable. And like, I did go to this, there's a school here for them. I did go to the free clinic for a while, but I always tell people, if you're going to get a doctor, find a DO, because
Mm-hmm.
osteopaths go to school, they have like a medical degree, they do extra schooling so that they can learn how the body works with itself, and
Yeah.
they have a better understanding. So my primary doctor is a DO. She doesn't do adjustments because she's like a tiny little human, so people are too heavy for her. But she's been great to work with because she understands how things work, and she's better at referring me out and stuff.
Oh, I want to look into that for the shoulder because it comes out of the socket really easily. And ever since there was a
Is that your
domestic
left shoulder?
violence, it's my right shoulder.
Okay, it's my left shoulder that does that. I can like do
I
this,
can
and
feel
I
it
get like
like,
I get you see the little dent right there. It's
yeah.
creepy.
Oh, I have it on that side too. Oh, well. um, Also on my finger, I don't know if you can see from holding my phone. It's like
That's funny.
the other one's straight, but this one like dips where my phone sits on my hand.
That's funny. I broke this finger. It overextended so
Mhm.
much that it popped the bone off that holds the ligament. So instead of the ligament giving way, the bone popped off. And they were like, well, you're going to need surgery on that. And so far, it's been like 20 years. It's been okay. So I was tickling someone and they smushed my hand between their knees and it just broke. It was weird. It didn't really hurt. It just felt weird.
Oof. That
Yeah.
sounds icky.
Yeah. It was very odd. I couldn't straighten my finger. Just kind of hanging there.
Yeah. Oh, so this morning I had a ghost interaction in my house,
Oh.
and I have a feeling I know what you're gonna say it actually was. So
But you gotta tell me about it. I need to know.
okay, so I remember my headphones falling off my side, this side of the bed. I was getting dressed and because I needed to go take Evelyn to the doctor, and I turn around and they're sitting right on my bed. I think the ghost was just helping me and they picked up my headphones and put them on my bed for me.
They're helpful ghosts. You know what? It's because of Casper. It's because you brought Casper in. So they're like,
Thank you.
you're down with the ghosts. And
Thanks, Casper. Okay, my theory, which I think is probably yours if what happened, is I disassociated and went and picked him up and put him on my bed.
My brain never fixates on one thing. It could be this, and then there's like a list of 20 things. So it was like, well, maybe you picked it up and you didn't remember. Maybe you remember them falling, but they didn't actually fall. Because I don't know, weird things happen like that.
Mm-hmm.
You have children. Like, they could have been useful without you asking. I don't know.
None of them had been up here though. So they fell off. And then I was like, oh, I'll go pick those up later. I don't need them. And so then I went off the other side of the bed, which is where my laundry basket was. And I went and got dressed, turned back around, and there they were.
I like ghosts. I like
I
that.
think the ghost. I think it was the
Yeah.
ghost.
That's more fun than disassociating. I mean, disassociating has its fun sometimes, but
So it was like, so this is the case. And it was just sitting. It was the only thing. And it was just sitting right there on my bed. I'm like,
you could have gnomes.
the borrowers, they went and took them and then they brought them back.
Yeah.
That was actually so Tom Felton, who most people know him from playing Draco Malfoy in Harry Potter. But I had a crush on him from The Borrowers because he was in that movie. When I was a kid, I was a
really cute
child,
movie.
guys.
Yeah. Is it weird that I didn't have crushes on kids when I was a kid? Like I always had, but my crushes were very specific. Spock, Egon, they were all like Sigourney Weaver and Alien. Like they're all very dry, intelligent. Like I think it was my autism. I don't think it was like.
I don't think that's weird. I think that a lot of kids have crushes on adult characters as well, or fantasy characters. Mine were Tom Felton as a child. They were Tom Felton and Jonathan Taylor Thomas. And then he was in Home Improvements and not George of the Jungle.
It was like the kid,
Jungle to
like
Jungle.
the sandy haired kid. Yeah.
And then but my other crushes were mainly animated, and I had a huge crush on Princess Jasmine, and Aladdin, both of them together. And and then Lilu in The Fifth Element, and I think those were the main ones when I was little.
I just identified with Lilu. I didn't really have a crush. It was like and then like the cartoon Egon was the one from the cartoon Ghostbusters. That's the one I had the crush on. So yeah.
Oh, I did have a crush. Okay, this is weird. And I thought it was weird. And I think this is my first time ever saying it out loud, but I had a crush on Slimer.
Yeah. I always also liked the bad guys when I was developing into my sexuality age, the tween and when you start getting the feels. It was always the, like Freddy and stuff. And it had nothing to do with how they looked. It
Yeah,
had to do with like
the character and
and the bad guys always have character development. Like, why would
mhm,
you ever care if the other people live? Because like there's no character development, but you have like these people that you can empathize with. And I had like so much angst at that age because of like the environment I grew up in, that like those bad guys were the ones that I felt like would be most likely to accept me
mhm.
and stuff, you know. So it like it makes sense, but you know, to tell people, oh yeah, like Freddy's hot, you know, like we're like, what the hell,
Especially
man? No,
now
no.
with his new character development, I wouldn't
I
say
haven't,
that.
I haven't, I'm like really
Um,
behind on.
so they've really emphasized on the new ones that he was a pedophile
Oh no.
and that the parents found out and burned like the place down, and that's how he got.
Why did they do that to him?
I
That's
don't
not okay.
know.
That's rude.
It really didn't, it wasn't necessary. And I did not like it, and it made me feel really icky. And it wasn't because like I watch Criminal Minds, I watch like all those things, but I feel like they just kind of destroyed the character, and some people were rooting for him, and like you kind of made those people look like jackasses.
Right?
So,
Yeah. You gave him like one of the ugliest backstories. Like just yeah. Did you see the Criminal Minds episode with Tim Curry?
yes.
Oh, and
I,
we're like at first I was like, that's Tim Curry. No, that's not Tim Curry. Is that Tim? Is you know, like because he was so good in the role that like it was, you know, it was
he's so
amazing.
good. Oh my God. He is one of if, the best actors ever.
Yeah. He
And
looks like he looks like my biological father a little bit. So when I was a little kid, I used to daydream that he was my dad because they look a lot alike.
he would have been a
So
better dad.
he might have actually wanted me.
All right, Tim Curry, if you see this, you need to adopt Leigh. She doesn't need much. She just wants you to call her
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah, you could just text me like once every couple of months. That'll be more attention than I'm used to.
Exactly. You can do that, right? I wouldn't mind a text either.
Yeah. We'll have a group chat. Low demand group chat.
Yeah, yeah. I only need like one text a year, just like on my birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday, darling.
I'll be like your adopted stepdaughter, and Leigh will be your actual adopted daughter.
Right.
Oh gosh, that's funny.
So who are we supposed to talk about today?
So I decided we had someone email us. I decided to read the email that they sent us, and it is a spooky one, but it is now October, and I think that that is appropriate.
Ooh. I think I told you I did like a whole bunch of videos for my TikTok. I did like 22 of them and they're all like dark and spooky.
They're spooky. Um, where is it? Okay. So they put in their name, but they put two of them, and I'm not sure which one I'm supposed to read. So I'm just going to call them Jay. And they wrote in, not, what is it called? The Thing in My Room. And their little like preamble to it. That's not the right word.
We ramble.
Pre-ramble. Not my oldest. That would be Rebecca of the Lodge. Not the strangest. That would be the ghost at midnight. But I have met these creatures several times in my life. If you ever find a ghostly tree with tentacle like limbs in your cryptid search, let me know because they keep seeing it and they have not been able to find it. I'm going to take my glasses off because they're for far away. They did write me and they just said, "Hey, have you ever seen a like a cryptid that's in trees that has tentacles?" And I'm like, "No, but I'll search for one for you."
Tree squid.
So if any of our listeners know of a tree squid, let me know so I can let Jay know. All right, it's called The Thing in My Room. I always hated being ill. fever brought about the strangest images of things growing up. At least I always told myself they were just images brought on by the fever. Did you ever have fever dreams?
Mm, yeah, like I got really sick. I had pneumonia when I was like 12, and I had like, I think I lost like 3 days to fever dreams, but my brain is like dark and spoopy, like end of the world type stuff. So it's pretty intense.
My so I have a reoccurring dream that I've had since I was like 5.5 when my parents split up. Sorry, Jay. I'm gonna talk about my fever dream here for a second.
Do it.
So I had this dream and it started then and I still have it now and I'm still the same age in the dream. So I'm like 5.5. And we lived in this condo. So it was like 2 stories and we were like the second one in. And in the dream, a T-Rex comes to my house up to my window because I was on the second floor. And he's like, hey, get on my back. And so I climb out my window onto his back. And then he eats my mom. And then he eats like all my neighbors. And then we go down the road. And like, I don't feel anything. Like, I don't feel scared. I don't feel sad.
It sounds like a fantasy, not any kind of nightmare, that's for sure.
And so he's going down and like eating people and leaving all the pets though. He didn't eat any of the dogs. Like people will be walking their dogs and then he'll just like eat the person and the dog like runs off. And we go down to Taco Bell. So there was this Taco Bell and it's very 90s and it still is in my dreams. You know, the bi-colors. And we go there and we order a bunch of bean burritos and I eat the bean burritos. And then we just go off and he just continues eating people. And that's my
So when you
dream.
said Taco Bell, I got like this visual of like Taco Bell building with the like the sign, so it's really clearly Taco Bell with a T-Rex with a little girl on the back. Like literally could be
Mhm.
like a storybook image or something like that. Like somebody that draws should draw that.
Make a story about me and my T-Rex
Going to
going
Taco
Taco Bell.
Bell.
But
That's
every time
amazing.
I'm sick, I have this reoccurring dream. So
Mine,
that's mine.
yeah, I have like the same like reoccurring dreams. There's a couple of them, but the one that started the earliest, I was about 3 the first time I had it, and it was there were black cats with wings and they would fly around, and if they scratched you, you would turn into a black cat with wings. So it's like you had to like hide from them, and like, and so everybody around me was getting this like cat virus and turning into these like black cats with wings and stuff. And so like I had that dream a lot until I was older, and then I have other recurring dreams, but they're all like they're either like the bomb or the virus or Men in Black or that kind of thing, but they're always like survival dreams. So I'm always trying to protect other people. I'm trying to hide. So I
Mhm.
learned how to lucid dream when I was like 7 because of that. So I do when I go through phases of just having normal dreams and then having stress dreams, and stress dream era is when I lucid dream like pretty exclusively every night. That
That's
helps me control it. Like I started learning how to control when the bomb would go off. And so as the wave from the bomb would come towards me, I would turn it into lava that would instantly cool. And then there would be lava tubes that we could play in. Like that was like what I did as a kid, like to control these like end of the world dreams.
that is cool. I can lucid dream. It's not every time, but it's usually during a bad dream that I realize like, hey, like things aren't working like they normally would. Like I can't scream or I can't run or something's going on. And I can kind of just like in my head realize that I'm dreaming and then can go into like, okay, I can control this.
Yeah.
But I don't go into dreams realizing they're dreams.
Yeah, I think I notice it usually like after it's already started. I'll be like, "Oh, I don't like this." And then I start being like, "Oh, I'm dreamy. I'm going to control it." And I remember like learning to lucid dream. I would have these dreams where I couldn't walk through a walkway. I would get sucked up to the top of the walkway over and over again. And so I had to like control it and get through the walkway. Or if I wore a skirt, the skirt would go up around my face over and over again. And that was like, it was like my brain was training me to lucid dream. Is really interesting. Like, from what I've read, people don't lucid dream that often, but like I lucid dream all the time and my son does as well. So I feel like maybe there's just some people that are more inclined to do it.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that was a thing. And like, I didn't know there was a name for it when I started doing it.
Same.
And it was just really interesting when I was like, why can't I freaking scream? I remember the first dream that I did it in, and like something was coming after me, and it was a T-Rex, actually. I dream about dinosaurs a lot. And it was coming after me. It had eaten like everyone else. And then it was coming after me, and I tried to scream and it wouldn't come out. And I'm like, that's not right.
Yeah.
I
It
scream
drives,
loud.
it drives me crazy when I have dreams where I'm trying to talk and I can't talk and I'm like, like,
How it is though, it's like you could feel it too.
yeah,
And like in
yeah.
my dream, I can feel it, and like I'm trying to scream
I'll
or
make
trying
myself
to talk.
telepathic. I project what I need to say into the person's brain and that's how I work around that in my dream.
I like that. I'm gonna try that with a dinosaur.
Good.
All right.
Dinosaur, dinosaur, let's go to Taco Bell.
We gotta go get burritos. Oh, Taco Bell has now they have these enchilada burritos. They're chicken enchilada, and I ordered one just to like see what it was like. They're $2. At least here they're $2. I don't know. They're more there.
Probably $4 here.
And they're so good. I really liked them.
I'm gonna have to try that because Taco Bell is one of my safe food places. I'm gonna make t-shirts that say Taco Bell is my safe food.
Yeah, I will buy one.
Yeah. I think other mass sell people will also, they'll be like, okay.
It was crazy. I think I told you about that on the mass cell group that I'm in. A bunch of people had said Taco Bell is their safe food too. I'm like, there must be something about Taco Bell.
It's the lack of the low residue diet. It's basically this shitty food like McDonald's, and they just, low residue makes it easier for us to, but it's weird because you would think with all the preservatives and stuff that we would be like, "Bleh."
But they may, like the beans, I don't think they have preservatives in them because they dehydrate them. So I think that they get around preserving them by just dehydrating them, and then they rehydrate them that day.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I usually don't get meat. I usually get like the bean burritos.
Yeah, that's my go-to.
But the chicken I was fine with too, and they're fajita burritos. And if I get the chicken tacos, I can do those.
Yeah, I've noticed I'm okay with their chicken as well. Like, and I don't like chicken, but unfortunately, like sometimes if I just need the protein, I have to suffer with it. So
you can usually hide chickeniness and flavors.
Yeah, it goes good with beans.
Mm-hmm. All right, so back to your story, Jay. Sorry about our rambling about our lucid dreams and Taco Bell. All right. When my mother finally got her own teaching job, her own house, us boys all got our own room. Now, there was a quick power struggle. My older and younger brothers each took a grab for the bedrooms closest to the rest of the house. Oh, you're a middle child. I chose the one on the extension. It wasn't a bad choice. There was pink drapes and a pink flowery chandelier that quickly prevented my brothers from choosing that room. Use that against them. Use that toxic masculinity.
Right?
I didn't care. Those were things that could be changed. True. I noted from a quick eye about the house, it was the largest bedroom. However, it also was close to the utility room. Well, that's where all the spooky stuff happens. So it would be noisy when there was laundry. Small price to pay for a little privacy. There were 2 doors to the room, one to the family room and one to my younger brother's room. Neither would be a problem. Sounds like foreshadowing, though. There was a strange chill in the room. No amount of heating could take that chill away from the center of the room. Ooh, in the middle of the room. The dogs and cats also avoided the center of the room. Sometimes our smallest dog would sit in the doorway and bark at the center of the room as if something was there. Anyone, um, everyone made fun of that. I think you're right.
Made fun of the dog. That's
They made
mean.
like obviously if the dog and the cats feel the same way that the people do, there's something going on. PJ, the largest of the cats, a 25-pound black alley cat that ruled the neighborhood, ruptured crows and ravens live and attacked a Great Dane.
Cats are brutal when they don't like dogs.
Anytime Vincent walks his dog down our street, he was the only one who ever came close to the center of the room. But even he, for all his vaunted courage, would not cross the cold spot in the room. He would often lie on my bed watching the center of the room as if something interesting was happening there. Once, our littlest dog was barking from the doorway when she suddenly lunged into the room, bit at something, and then ran from the room, whining in a panic as if something or someone had hit her. This is not a nice entity. I like my headphone
Casper,
ghost.
right? Your local Casper.
Look, he's hanging out with Sweet and Sour.
Aw. It looks like a little peen to me. I keep looking at it and being like, I think it's supposed to be a nugget, but it looks like a little peen.
He's a chicken nugget. And I like his like dopey like mouth in between his eyes.
Yeah. I like it.
I got him from a farmer's market.
Aw.
I think he was like $8, which is like nothing for a handmade.
Right? That's actually really cheap for that much work.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So, with such activities from the animals, I started avoiding the center of the room, just as they did. However, when I was ill with a fever, I would see something there. Something moving. As I got older, the image became clearer, but only when I was ill. The most disturbing vision came when I was 16. My cat PJ was with me when I was running a fever of 104.5. And you're at home
You're supposed to be at the hospital?
in an ice bath? Let me talk to your parents.
Right?
I also did not read this ahead of time. I remember because my mother was worried about the fever for once. Oh, sounds like my mother.
Yeah, right.
My mom
for
kept
once
thinking I was faking being sick and hadn't checked my temperature. And I would get like legit stomach aches and like really like it was my anxiety for sure, not wanting to go to school. And I really
yeah.
felt sick. Like I was not trying to just get out of school, even though I did want to get out of going to school, but I legit didn't feel well. And
Yeah.
then my mom just assumed that I was doing that and thought that I was fine. And then took my temperature and it was like 103 point something. And then finally was like, okay, maybe we should go to the doctor.
Yeah.
And I had
Yeah.
pneumonia.
Yep. I had walking pneumonia and it took my mom like weeks to take me to the doctor for it. And it was easier for her to scream at me about coughing than, yeah. My son did the same thing with the stress and anxiety thing. And he ended up so anxious and stressed that he got gastritis, where it was like
Mm-hmm.
he had a legit reason for being in pain and feeling sick. So it was like trying to manage that and treat that,
Yeah.
while get him to be less stressed about school and stuff.
Anxiety and stress can definitely cause, I think that's why I have gastritis, is from that. And then they kept putting me on like a leave for my joint pain as well as my stomach pain. And now I have hemorrhagic gastritis.
Yeah. I can't, my mast cells won't let me take NSAIDs. Like I'll maybe once a month I'll have it just if it's a real bad day, but that's it because the mast
Yeah.
cells just go, no.
I I kept getting sick while on them, and I think that that's what it was too. And I just can't. I can do Tylenol, um, and like baby aspirin, but yeah, I can't do ibuprofen, Aleve, Motrin.
Yep.
Okay, let's learn more about your fever, Jay. As the as the fever settled in, it was like someone lifted off a haze in the room. I saw a very black tree with vines growing up from the center of the room. The tentacles waved about freely as if they were part of an underwater creature.
Hmm.
I want to paint this.
Yeah,
I'm
sounds
not a good
cool.
painter though. I'll be able to tell what it is.
Yeah.
um, I told myself it was all a fever dream, though I had never quite had a dream like that. But it was always in the center of the room. Usually I would see a shadow there, a haze like heat rising from the center of the room, but no more than that. This time I saw the creature for the first time. My mother walked right through the thing on her way to take my temperature. I tried to get I tried to get out a warning, but my fever rattled mind couldn't even produce words. I must be in a fever dream, some vision brought on by my fever. I relaxed a bit. Of course, you're talking yourself out of that tentacle thing in the middle of the room. I would too. Um, PJ came to sit with me. He loved to sit on my chest, especially when ill. Oh, cats love our hot
25,
bodies.
25 pounds of chest sitting cat when you're in the middle of some like nasty cootie attack. That sounds great.
It's like a WWE cat fighter too. But
PJ wins.
oh, uh, but this time he sat between my legs, thank God, and watched the thing in the center of the room. I made excuses for this behavior, since what I was seeing was nothing but delusions brought on by the fever. PJ couldn't possibly be watching the thing I was seeing there. It was in the worst of the fever that I remember the thing most vividly. It was as if it took on a solid substance. Light from the room even played off the surfaces. Bambi, the smallest of our dogs, barked from the door. I wonder if that cat killed his mom. Um,
Kill Bambi's mom. It took me my brain had to like process that.
I can't believe they're making a live action Bambi. Like we haven't cried enough. All right. Um, and the thing took a swat at her with a whip like motion of a tentacle. To my shock and horror, the thing struck her and she fell from the strike, got up and ran from the door to my room whining. I was beginning to doubt this was just a fever dream. I would have too after that. Yet there was PJ playing or watching the whole thing with cat like interest and also cat like indifference.
I
Amos
ain't afraid of
knows
no ghosts.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, I see that thing over there. You take care of it.
Yeah.
Then the thing caught the edge of the bed with a tentacle, and I felt the bed move. Now I was just frightened. PJ bounded to the corner of the bed and struck at the tentacle like limb with its claws. Strike after strike after strike as the bed inched away from the wall, being pulled into the center of the room. Finally, the thing pulled away the tentacle, which seemed to have shredded without any blood or anything like blood. PJ watched it for a while from the corner of the bed. When satisfied it would not renew its grasp on the bed, returned to me, lay across my waist, and simply purred while watching the thing. PJ smiled as cats do, very proud of his activity, and raised a weak arm. I raised a weak arm to pet him. That's scary. Did your mom notice that? you might say this later, but did your mom notice the bed pulled away from the wall?
Right.
Um, I had written it all off to the fever before I fell asleep to PJ's purrs. When I woke, the fever had broken. I was incredibly weak, barely able to stand. Bambi, near the head of the bed, sat there watching the center of the room as if guarding me. It was then, as I sat up, I realized that the bed had been pulled diagonally towards the center of the room, almost a foot from the head of the bed to the wall, and about 9 inches from the side of the bed to the wall. I always kept my bed tight against the wall because I like to sleep in the corner of the bed against the wall. Me too, except for when I
I
got
was
up
gonna say me
here.
too.
Uh,
It's so hard to adapt like how your bed is without like
mhm,
I always like because I'll like get close to falling off the bed because I want to be in the corner.
mhm. That's how it was when I first moved my bed up here, but there was no way to put it against the wall because of the posters, and
Yeah.
the way that the ceiling is like this. So this is like, yeah, that's where it's
Yeah.
going.
I like to sleep. It's either that or be like a burrito where I roll around in my blanket until it's like really tight.
I'm in a group chat where they're having a fight over who loves who more. Um, just it keeps popping up. I love you more. No, I love you more. Now I can't join in. Um, okay, so where were we at here? Okay, a habit I picked up after falling out of the top bunk. I don't blame you. From elementary school on, I have always slept near the back corner near the wall. Now I was nearly falling into the gap between my bed and the wall. As I pushed my bed back against the wall, Bambi growled at the center of the room. I stopped, afraid to turn around, but then she started wagging her tail at me. We both left the room at the edge, avoiding the center of the room entirely. I would be scared too, and I think I would try to change rooms with my brother, my least favorite
just
brother.
just spray paint the pink stuff black and be like, here you go. Here you go.
Yeah, look, it's just for you. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I'm gonna look for tentacle trees for you.
I think I like Taco Bell T-Rexes better.
Yeah.
Less
Well,
creepy.
we can do both. And like imagine make a cool tattoo.
Would. Yeah. The visual, like, there's a lot of like art potential. I wish I could draw. I cannot, like, I can't even like I I can just do abstract. I can't do anything cool like that.
Becca can. I and my brother just bought Becca and Evelyn a bunch of paints and canvases. I'm gonna ask her to paint a tentacle tree.
Nice.
We'll see
Do
how it turns out.
it. Tree squid.
Tree squid. Oh, yeah, that I don't think I'd be able to sleep in that room again.
Like all of it sounds like fever dream until like the bed moving, and then it's like, well,
Hmm.
how do you explain that part, you know? Because like
Although,
I some of my fever dreams were really like tactile and like where I couldn't tell you what was real and not real when I woke up, you know.
yeah, I it kind of like my mind goes to like making a movie about it, but you can kind of make it about how kind of like the secret window where things are happening and you think it's something else, but it's really that person doing the things and disassociating and like
Yeah.
doing the things that you're
Like maybe
imagining.
he could have just been like, because like the fever dream, he could have just been kicking the wall or pushing off the wall and it moved the bed and his
Hmm.
brain was just explaining it, you know, away. And yeah, there's ways to explain it, but it's more fun to like imagine that a tentacle tried to get him.
Yeah. Ugh. You wonder because when you hear about different stories of almost like different realities merging with ours in a specific place, like have you heard of these staircases to nowhere? Like they're legit. So there's these staircases that people find just in the middle of the forest. I'm gonna do an episode about them, but
Yeah, I haven't The only staircases nowhere I know about are the Winchester Mystery House. That's it.
No, these are like in the middle of the forest and it's just a staircase.
Okay. So
I
it's kind of
don't know.
like finding a random door or something where you're like,
Yeah, yeah. And there's no structure or anything else, debris or anything around them that, and people think that if you go like, there's like different theories that if you like go up the staircase, you'll like go into another dimension or like be in between dimensions, and that that staircase
yeah,
is actually from another dimension. There's really a house there somewhere else that they had built there. And yeah, if you look into, there's quite a few of them that you can go and see, but no one knows where they came from. They're legit like in a house staircases, like not outdoor staircases.
yeah. I've
And
always thought it would be
yeah.
cool if there were like multiverses that we could like.
Mhm.
The thing is that humans are so awful that we'll just ruin it.
They're all
Just,
ruined.
yeah. We're
I
just
kind
like
of
they're all gonna like ruin like the oh shit, what's the name of that book series with come on, brain. It's like all the information's like right there. The long it's the long and then there's a whole series and there's like different but those are really enjoyable and it's kind of like that there's if you go like a certain direction you can go into like the multiverses in one direction or the other and it's I don't know as they're good books I think there's a few more in the series that I haven't read yet. I read the first 5.
that sounds like something I'd want to read. So if you remember what they're called, let me know. I
They'll
have
probably come up
credits
in my
on Audible. I'm really bad at reading paper books, but so if they have audio
I
versions
like
of them.
I can't listen. I can't. It's so bad. I can't. I want to. I should try it now that I'm doing like art because I may be able to listen while I'm doing the art because I can do podcasts. So
That's how I realized I could do that. Or if I'm on a long car ride.
there it is. The Long Mars. Um it's written by Stephen Baxter, who is my favorite sci-fi author, and then Terry Pratchett, who is a lot of people's favorite fantasy author, not mine, but um is he's a really good author too. So and
Yeah,
it's
not Lee's favorite though, so do better.
yeah, do better. So the series is called The Long Earth, and the Long Mars is the third one,
Okay.
and it's about parallel Earth sequences.
Cool. I like that. I yeah, I do like the idea of parallel universes, but if those humans are better than these humans, I don't want these humans knowing about it.
Right? Yeah, seriously. And if
Embed
there's like,
us.
yeah. And then if there's other dimensions where there's things that exist that we just can't perceive, it's probably better that we can't perceive them because even if they're creepy, we'll still fuck them up.
But that's the other
Like,
thing. Like, what if there are entities, well, not even entities, like beings that are made out of a material that we can't see or feel or hear?
yep.
And they do live among us, and we just don't know that they're there. And that's the cause of some of the things going on. And they're not actually ghosts or previous energy, they're actual current energy that's going on.
Yeah. That would be very interesting if our science gets to the point that we could learn about that because there's so
We
much that
could
we
we
can't
could be their
see,
ghosts. Maybe we're moving shit for them.
right? That'd be so weird if you were just like literally like existing at different wavelengths and so they like they don't know that we exist most of the time and we don't know but then every now and again we like trip over each other or just random things happen and then they have like maybe they have like an entire religion like that's like built around it that like
Us.
yeah for like the random shit that we leave like well there'll be like a car part that accidentally shows up there or a doorway and they're like and they don't even need doors to be built the way that we have doors like because they're not shaped like us so they're just like what the
What
hell
is this?
yeah
It's the gods. I want a book about that.
I feel like I read a book that had not exactly like that but like something like that. Maybe I watched something. I don't know. More likely a book.
Because the books and movies I've read or seen that are similar to that, the so you, there's they think that they're ghosts, going on. But it's always the fact that the person that you're reading about that's like the main character thinking that there are ghosts is the actual ghost. And like that's the twist that they do. But what if they neither of them were ghosts and they're just
Right.
living in a parallel universe?
Right. This so I have like my brain like Sherlock's movies and stuff. Like so I figure out what's going on really early. And I've learned not to say anything because I ruin things for people. But like the Sixth Sense, I knew what was going on like really early on. And Mr. Robot, same thing, you know. And I have a friend that she likes to watch stuff with me because she wants me to tell her what I think it's going to be, because it's always something that for her she cannot, she goes, no, it can't be that. And then when I'm right, she's like, oh my god. But I like I my at my last job I told them what I thought was happening with Mr. Robot, and they're like, there's no way that that's happening. There's absolutely. And then sure enough, that's exactly what was happening. They're just like, how did you figure that out? And I'm like, I actually don't know. I know that there's probably stuff I'm picking up on, but I can't tell you what it is. I just know.
There was a movie recently that I watched. I'm trying to think of what it was, but I really didn't know what was happening till the end. Now I need to remember what it was because usually I can pick up pretty well on things too.
Yeah, I like
Um,
it when they actually can surprise me. I have found like foreign movies and stuff are their storytelling's not, they don't follow the same linear whatever I'm used to. They
mhm.
can, it may take me longer to pick up what's going on, or they may actually commit to doing something that American movies just would never do, like killing the main character or something.
The movie Mother with an exclamation point at the end. Have you seen that one?
Mm-mm.
It is a horror movie. Um, it's more of a like psychological thriller and it's very different. I don't think it streams anywhere anymore. It used to be on Netflix, but I don't know if it streams anywhere for free anymore, but it's very interesting. And now that I've seen, like, I've watched it once, I want to watch it again, knowing what's going on, because then you can pick up on different things. But yeah, that one was weird. And I did not understand what was going on until the end of that one. And that's
There's
not, yeah.
there's one called House at the End of Time. It's kind of like a horror film, but it's the kind I like story-based horror. I don't
Mhm.
like shock-based because it's just silly, but and that one it took me a little longer. I can't remember what that where that's based.
I've seen it. I've seen the title, and it's on something that I have. I'm pretty sure.
The 2013 movie. Let's see. I'm trying to see where it's because it's in Spanish is Venezuela. So yeah, but that was I liked it. It was really good.
I'll have to look that one up. I don't mind if they're foreign or anything. Like they're almost better that way.
Yeah, I rely on subtitles anyways, so it doesn't, that
Yeah.
auditory processing disorder. Woo woo.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so Mother, it's not so much shock. It's more like indie, artsy, but there are definite aspects of it that people would find very the gory and gross. One part of it that I don't understand why they did that. I know that I know why they did it, and I know it was like part of the story, but I feel like they could have done without that one part. But
Yeah. You're like,
but
hey guys, a little bit, maybe
it's a
not.
little
Eh,
much, and you're
eh.
gonna lose some audience not even wanting to watch it because of that one part. But yeah, it was very psychological, and it was an accidental movie I watched when I was sick, just to fall asleep to, and then I couldn't sleep. I just kept watching it.
Yeah.
We will be in a 2-day intermission because we are chatty Cathys, so join us next time on Frightening Frauen for the other half of this conversation.